sick, twisted minds, they're somehow more important to the scheme of reality on planet Earth. A lot of these people are aristocrats. Some of these people in these shadows pulling the strings, the grand puppeteers, the grand poobahs, the masterminds, the kingpins behind the scenes, goes to generational wealth. Pulling the strings at the Federal Reserve and other central banks around the world. It's sick. They'll stop at nothing because they love that power. It's wanton satanic power. You are what you eat. We're all eating it. We're all money lovers. I'm not going to deny I'm a money lover. God knows everything. Your heart and mind, your spirit, your soul, your values are laid bare to God. You could try to hide them from everybody else in the world and yourself. We're masters at lying to ourselves, masters of self-deceit. But you can't lay them, you can't hide them, the one that owns you, that has the power to put you either in a perfect world from here or one that's on fast track. That's what we want. That's what we're supposed to be striving for. Improving our lot. Improving our sense of happiness. But there's only two lines we could be in. One's going up, one's going down. But our hearts have to be pure. And it's all about the love of money or the absence thereof. What we're supposed to have is the opposite. See through God's eyes. Oh my God, look how it so easily corrupts the hearts and minds of men. We cannot tolerate this stuff. We cannot contend with it. We cannot coexist with it. We need to admit it and say, God, you're right, we're wrong. All of us. Myself included, but we're all culpable. I'm not keeping myself out of this thing. I'm stuck here. I'm a human being. I have to pay money for stuff. God, I understand just as much as anybody else. I'm human. I had a natural mom and dad. That's something Jesus didn't have. He had a natural mom, but he had a supernatural dad. None less than the God Almighty, Creator God, man. But he understands. And we're so lucky to have this friend. But we got to choose to have that friend and choose to please that friend as best as we honestly can. It's that simple. And we need to all ask ourselves individually, very sober-mindedly, are we doing that? Are we at least speaking out for the downtrodden, whom Jesus said are me? Whatever we do or fail to do for the least of these, you do or fail to do for me. There's no ambiguity in that statement. And we call ourselves a Christian nation. When are we going to start acting like it? For God's sake, friends, I care about everybody simply because I care about myself. I want to be happy, but I can't go it alone. Okay, do you understand? I'm trying to get something done here, but I see, I'm failing miserably. It's horrible. I need God's help. I need some supernatural event that's going to show those evil men that keep on diluting our currency. This is a big deal. When you want to understand slavery, you got to understand this stuff. Currency debasement in economic terms. You got to understand that. I talk about what led to the inception of a federal minimum wage and why didn't we adhere to it. We didn't just drop the ball hard and heavy. Look at it. Do you have any idea how much minimum wage would have to be across the country to finally average out to where absolutely sure in the most high-priced neighborhood in this country, you could live there on a minimum wage job. Not only live there, but be a homeowner there. With one person staying home to take care of the family. Didn't matter who, but you could take turns, whatever you wanted to do. That's the America I knew as a child. Do you understand? So if you tell me this is, incompetency or just an oversight, stupidity on the part of the Federal Labor Department, okay, I tell you that no, only in their wet dreams, okay? They wish it was stupidity or incompetence. No, my friends, this is deliberation. This is evil genius at work. This is slavery, the normalization of slavery right under our noses, where it's hopeless for people, virtually hopeless. Unless you pull a rabbit out of the hat in California, good luck ever being a homeowner unless you figure you're going to inherit it. And like they say at these 12-step programs, that's stinking thinking. Any thinking like that, you're sick, you're twisted, you're out of your freaking nut. You're living in the future, man. You're pissing on the present. Okay, it ain't cool. It ain't right. Okay, when thoughts are transient, we all get funky thoughts. And what you do say, well, I choose not to identify with that thought. I identify with this thought that I like much more. I want to like myself here because I want others to like. I not only want others to love me, everybody else, even my foes, but I want them to like me. A far greater compliment. That's personally how I feel. And I think other people in their right mind get that. And you get the idea that at the end of the day, comes down to true happiness. Okay, permanent happiness, growing blessings, growing good everything, man. Because that's logical. That's the will of our parents. Why do I know that? Because it only makes sense, perfect sense. A kid can understand that. There's no ulterior motive possible when it comes to your parents. There's no way. The sickest parent that ever lived on this planet was not that sick. Even Abraham, when he was willing to kill his son, Isaac was it, okay, and showed God, and God said, no, that's all right. You don't have to prove, what you do for me. I mean, it doesn't matter because you can't really kill somebody if you have faith in God. You know that to God all are alive. You read the Bible, and it only makes sense that we weren't granted the power to kill one another, and how that's great news to other people. That's great news. But I'm human. I understand, this thing we call retribution and why people want that. Vengeance. Just desserts. I get it. God gets it. God understands all the stuff we do, all this controversial stuff where I'm on this side, you're on that side, he's on that side, she's on that side. God gets it, and he's trying to bring us all together and unify and understand that's the total opposite. That's diametrically opposite. The antithesis of what the evil men want. They do not want us to come together and say there are solutions to all our problems. Anybody that would suggest otherwise is an idiot or a liar. End of story. Okay? Wrong. They're just erroneous. Whatever. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Believe they believe it. But people can be totally out of their nuts. Okay? Totally delusional. And speak bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, right to your face, full of confidence. I mean, all we ever see is experts that say, oh, yes, pumping vaccines and all this stuff. But the idea that there's a 100% consensus among the experts is hooey. I mean, the mainstream media won't even make you privy to that information, much less put one of them on for a dissenting point of view regarding the science. I mean, remember early in this thing when there was no vaccine, what were they telling people? Take vitamin A, take vitamin D, take zinc. Remember all that? I was saying that right away, man, when I heard about this thing. I told my listeners all heard, take cod liver oil, man. I might take it once every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. It stores in your body, A and D. Cod liver oil, natural way to get it. Take 5, 10 of those things, man, once in a while. I'm not religious about supplements. I don't have to be. But if you think there's no science behind supplements, man, you got another thing coming. You think I'm ignorant talking out my behind? I don't want to die of some funky virus. And then there's oil of oregano. Look, read into that. Okay? I'm just saying, look, there's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of science. Even honey. Okay? Cayenne pepper. Apple cider vinegar. There's all kinds of ways to get your body, it's a machine, to get it functioning properly. My dad had multiple sclerosis in his 30s. He was diagnosed with it. Doctors, plural, said he had 5 years to live. He got into nutrition, supplements, and all that crap. He lived to be 86. So he lived like 50 years approximately longer than doctors had predicted because he got into nutrition. I had pneumonia when I was 10. I lived in Ireland. And I was very bad. I almost died. Okay, it left lung. It was very serious. I think I was in like a little light coma at least, because I was completely out of it, lethargic. I couldn't do a damn thing. But my dad, he gave me cod liver oil and vitamin B complex tabs and made me eat those things while he watched, and I got better. I mean, your lungs are never 100%. They're damaged. I've got chronic bronchitis because of it. It could be light COPD. I smoke a little bit. But listen, friends, I'm telling you, you can compensate. If you're a smoker, definitely take cod liver oil. Okay, not all the time. Read up on it. Study for yourself. You care about your machine, your body, then do your own research. But, I'm telling you, friends, I'm on everybody's side. There's just too much money involved in this, and you see the incentive, the motivation. In crime lingo, they call it cui bono, Latin for let's look into the motive, who benefits from this thing. And when you see all these wanton profits being made, people getting vaccinated not even twice, but now 3 times they're testing on people. You understand they sell more vaccine that way, don't they? People getting it, though, they've still been getting it. I mean, this is haphazard. That's why so many people in the health profession aren't getting it. They say, it's not long enough for me. What if you find out in 2 years your brain turned to mush? I'm just saying, hypothetically. I'm not saying that's going to happen to people. God forbid it, because both my daughters in their 30s, very smart, educated women I trust with my own life, they decided to get vaccinated. But, they've got their reasons, And I say, you know what? I thank God I'm not in one of those jobs where they're bullying me and peer pressuring me. And I thank God for who's that beloved NFL football player that recently it was known that he doesn't want to be vaccinated. And there's a lot of other guys on the NFL that don't. This is the kind of stuff that, thank God, they can't stop from coming out. Thank God. Thank God. Okay? Stop bullying people. Stop putting peer pressure on them. Put on dissenting experts because they exist. And talk about supplements and the science behind supplements. The fact that all these fancy vaccines all began, the genesis was from organic ingredients. Let's talk about how you made it. What ingredients did you use so people can get a little jump start in their body, the health of their machine. Okay? But this idea, it's the most un-American crap. And my God, Harvey Levin's just been he's out of control. He's the biggest bully out there, man. It's like, God almighty, Harvey. What is your problem? You want to mandate and force people? You call yourself a Jew and you know what these people went through, and you want America turning to Nazi Germany, mandating, here, roll your sleeve up door to door. We're giving you a shot. Listen, it's so tough. Psychologically, yes, I'm injured. I feel frail, fragile, just like everybody else. We've been through a lot, friends. Okay, this is a very poignant time in history, and the only hope is that we turn to God to heal us. Because this division, you see, the evil men always love us at each other's throats, divided, because we're distracted from them. Okay, and what are they doing? They've just normalized slavery under our nose. All this homelessness that apparently it's overwhelming and it's hopeless. And the only answer is just let people die of attrition. And that's basically that's the inferred message society is handing us. Tolerate it, because what are you going to do? Put them up in your house. Even though we, the taxpayers, are spending $50 billion a year to subsidize housing costs for poor people. But we're not even going to talk about funding the tiny homes that's being done by charitable and volunteer organizations with 301c, whatever the charity designation is, so you don't pay taxes. And then all these good-paying, well-paying executive positions in these jobs. Now they have incentive to not solve the problem because now they make money off these extremely poor people. I talked with a woman at the Habitat for Humanity some years ago. And she was opposed to the idea of Trump ending homelessness, because that's the only reason I voted for him, because he said he was ashamed of homelessness in America. Look where we are now. Yeah, Trump let me down. What's Biden doing? Governor Galvin Newsom, I hope to God and other people, private people, influential people, just fix it. For God's sake. God's wrath, he lifts his hand of protection. Okay, and I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it with him allowing all this bullying everywhere with the vaccine and all this. It's scary, man. People threaten to lose your job. Oh, now Google's announced they're not going to do it. They report all these vaccines in our towns, and it's like this is from people getting 2 or 3 shots now in Butte County where I live. So I heard a report where it was less than half the people in Butte County had been vaccinated. This came out on the mainstream media. So, if there's confusing statistics, it's not me putting out misinformation or disinformation. It's what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. And then we've had one person die in the last 2 months of COVID with a county of well over 200,000 people. One person in 2 months from COVID. Do you understand the implications of what I'm saying here? I mean, this is insanity. Absolute insanity. And how this thing get started, man? How did it spread so quick? What are they spraying in the sky? What nobody's asking. Oh, those are just planes going by. We know air travel's virtually non-existent normally, and then one day we see all these planes crisscrossing in the sky, high-flying jets, and there's condensation or whatever's coming out of them that never leaves. You start with this clear blue sky, and at the end of the day, it's a milky white sky. What the hell are they spraying? Well, if it's aluminum, like they admit to, they're trying to modify the weather. It's geoengineering.